Should be.
You are now live.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on this warm Alabama Saturday afternoon, ready to play music for y'all. By golly.
We have. Well, let me sit just so here. So I got my microphone where it belongs. There you go. We have no comments yet.
And we're just going to get right to it here. The topic for today's show, the theme, if you will, is Tales from Down Home. And I'm going to play the songs that I played at MLAG, for those of you who were not able to join us in person or virtually.
Yes.
And then I'm going to add a few songs besides that are in that same kind of vein, if you will.
Hey, Bob Hales here. Hello, George.
Hello,
and
Bob
Lynn.
and Brenda.
XXX.
Great to see you
Good to
guys.
have you here. Welcome. Welcome. And Ivan Stiles. Good
Hello,
afternoon,
Ivan.
folks! Exclamation point. Welcome.
Ivan, a lot of this concert will be a rerun for you, I'm afraid. As I said before, this one's called Tales from Down Home. And I'm going to play the songs that I played at MLAG for our Facebook friends who couldn't be there. Plus a few.
Ah, Lavanda's here.
Hey,
I
LaWanda!
made it, she
Glad
said.
you found us.
Yes.
Indeed.
Didn't mean to interrupt you there.
What a great time we had with you all.
And Bob says you ate on time tonight.
Yes, indeed. So, this is the Schreiber,
Yes.
the Autoharp that I won in 2022 at the MLAG Championship Contest. It has been converted to a 21-chord chromatic. And last night, just for the heck of it, I put on my plastic Alaska picks, and boy, it was just like putting on a set of old shoes. So let's see what happens here. This is what the Schreiber sounds like. Well, doesn't sound like that. Foggy Mountain Breakdown.
Yeah. Ivan says, I can't stay too long as we have to go to a graduation party soon.
Oh, who's graduating?
Oh, he doesn't say. And then Stan said, hello, George and Lynn.
Hello,
Second time
Stan and
around is
Sandy.
Twice as good. It was great for Sandy and I to meet you in person and see you perform live. Lynn, looking forward to meeting you next year. Well, I would love to do that. I really would.
We will do our best.
Yes.
We may have a schedule conflict. I can tell you now that I have accepted an invitation to perform at the California Autoharp Gathering next year. So it would be go to that and then rest a week and then do it again. And if I can get the money together, by golly, I might do it, because I wouldn't have anything to do at MLAG next year.
Right.
I wouldn't be involved. I could jam and just schmooze and take a workshop or two and stuff like that.
Debbie's here. Deborah Lynn Brace McInnes.
Hello,
Hi, guys.
Debbie.
Just
Good to
in
see you.
for a minute, but that looked fierce. And Ivan said, next door neighbor's daughter.
Oh, well, congratulations to her.
Yes. Yes.
Hope it's not too hot up there.
Oh, yeah,
It's pretty hot down here.
Philippa's here. Hi, guys.
Hey, Philippa.
Big smile face. Welcome.
All right, so I'm going to do this just like I did before. And a lot of these songs you've heard before in a different context. But I started out the concert and I said, now, we do a Facebook show every second and fourth Saturday on the Autoharp Down Home Facebook page. And so I'm going to tell you what some of the good old people down home get up to, so you can get to know them a little bit. And we got all kind of people down home. We got bootleggers, we got beer brewers, we got thrill seekers. Here's a story about one of them. Me and Oliver and Virgil was in the drugstore killing time when my eyes fell upon this magazine. And I got to reading this article on skydiving and parachutes. It said jumping out of airplanes is the thing. Now, being raised down on a farm and always ready for adventure, I knew that I could figure out a way. I said, well, Delmer Gill's got a parachute and Uncle Harvey's got an airplane. So I said, call the boys together. Today's the day. Well, I found out too late that what Harvey called an airplane wasn't nothing but an engine and a wing. And I could feel my fear rising as Delmer packed a parachute, 'cause he kept telling me I was doing the right thing. Ron McLaughlin shook my hand as J.D. strapped me in the harness, and Tilden brought a jug and passed it around. I took one look at that parachute, that whiskey, and that airplane, and I turned that bottle up and drank it down. Well, I was drunker than Cooter Jones when they poured me in the plane. The engine coughed and headed for the clouds. But I was sober as a judge when Harvey opened up the door, and I've never known my heart to beat so loud. I said, Harvey, I can't do it, as he kicked me out the door, and I wrapped my hands around the landing gear. And I was holding on real good till Harvey stepped upon my fingers, and Virgil heard me scream from way down there. Well, I thank God and Delmer Gill when my parachute finally opened. I said, hell, there ain't no use in being afraid. And I went crashing through the hen house, scattering chickens and breaking eggs, and I kissed the ground and fainted dead away. Well, now, friends, I fought some battles, and I've been shot at once or twice, and a darn near got run over by a train. But I can't remember ever being more afraid than the day I jumped from Uncle Harvey's plane.
Oh my. Oh, Stan wants to know how is Indy's paw.
Oh, he's fine. I guess he just put it wrong or something, you know, on all that walking around we did. It was, he limped a little bit when we were going through the airports, but by Monday morning, he was fine.
He had no sign.
He's okay.
And then Ivan said, still cool here and wet.
Oh.
And now we have Mike Mueller is here.
Hello, Mike.
And that's where he says hi, George and Lynn, and hi to Ivan. And welcome, sir.
Welcome from sunny California.
Yes. And Ivan said, hi, Mike. Would love to be part of CAG someday. Please keep me in mind. Wishing you continued success. And Mike said, you betcha.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
That would be wonderful.
Wouldn't it be great if Ivan and I could both perform at the same venue? Well, that'd be an honor, wouldn't it?
It would. Oh, man.
So now,
Bob said, Brenda here, so love your song stories.
Thank you.
You do it so well. I agree.
All right. Well, here's a story that falls under the category of tell me what you really think. This was written and recorded by Hoyt Axton. You're the dead corsage inside my Frigidaire. You're the flaky specks of dandruff in my hair. You're the tickle in my throat that makes me cough. You're the hangnail in my life, but I can't cut you off. You're the soap suds and pollution in my stream. When I'm sleeping, you're the nightmare in my dream. You're the fattening foods that sometimes give me gout. You're just like my ingrown toenail, 'cause I can't cut you out. You're the sun that gives me sunburn. You're the cinder in my eye. Your voice can make my stomach turn. You're the rain cloud in my sky. You're the dirty ring around my clean bathtub. You're the razor blade that always leaves the nubs. You're the broken handle on my coffee cup. You're a tire that just went flat, and I can't pump you up. You're the sun that gives me sunburn. You're the cinder in my eye. Your voice can make my stomach turn. You're the rain cloud in my sky. You're the cycle seat that made me saddle sore. You're the piece of chalk that scrapes across the board. You're the tickle in my throat that makes me cough. You're the hangnail in my life, and I can't bite you off. Whoa, you're the hangnail in my life, but I can't bite you off.
Whoa. Oh, my.
All right. So I don't believe they're going to last. That couple don't look to me like they're going to last.
Not a lot of appreciation.
Now, folks down home here are the most helpful people in the world. Even if they barely know you, they'll give you their last dime if you really need it bad enough. And a couple of city boys decided that one time that they were going to get in the counterfeit money business. And so Lefty gave Bugsy all their cash, and he went off to the counterfeiter to buy some funny money, and he comes back with a big old box of $18 bills. And Shifty says, Bugsy, there ain't no such thing as an $18 bill. You can't spend those. And Bugsy said, yeah, boss, I thought about that. What we'll do is we'll drive way out in the country to these little stores and gas stations and all, and we'll get them to give us change. And he said, yeah, that's a good idea. So they get in their mob mobile, and they drive and drive and drive, and they finally get down home. They pull up outside of Bill Jones' General Store. Bill's there at the counter, as was his wont back then. And they walked in, and Shifty said, hey, Pop, can you change an $18 bill for us? And Bill said, sure can, son. How you boys want it, 2 9s or 3 6s?
Oh, dear.
Now, I knew old Bill, and believe me, he ain't that dumb.
Flip said, and you don't have to mind your own business. They'll mind it for you.
That too.
There's that too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, go on home so we can talk about you.
That's right.
You know, we all feel, well, sometimes we get to feeling sorry for ourselves. Our problems seem overwhelming, and then somebody will come along and say, well, hey, you know, if you really think about it, you could find somebody that's got worse problems than you got. Well, that's true, I suppose. And whenever I get to feeling sorry for myself, I think about this feller down home that's got a problem that's so devastating and so debilitating that, friends, every time I think of it, my problems just don't seem to be so bad. There's a full moon in the pasture tonight. It hangs like a fine and polished pearl, so pure and white. The average guy finds great beauty in its light, but I'm a werecow. Moo, moo, moo. I'm a werecow. Now I'm stuck. It seemed so innocent when Bossy bit my hand. I was just trying to milk her, but I didn't understand that Bossy really was Pierre the handyman. He was a werecow. Moo, moo, moo. He was a werecow. Now, if there's any boventhropes out there, see, a werewolf is a lycanthrope. So Doc Jackson back down home, he said that a werecow had to be called a boventhrope. So if there's any of y'all out there and you feel an urge to moo along with the herd, why, go ahead, we'll understand. First time this happened to me was at the California Autoharp Gathering in 2021. By day I worked the fields here on my daddy's farm. By night I roamed the neighbor's place in search of corn, chewing my cud and trying to keep my udders warm. I'm a werecow. Moo, moo, moo. I'm a werecow. The mornings after always make my family wince. I know it's hard for them to try and make some sense of finding me naked with my head stuck through a fence. I'm a werecow. Moo, moo, moo. moo. I'm a were-cow. I found this gypsy who said she could break the curse. She said she sympathized with me, but she'd seen worse. Said Lon Chaney Jr. used to be a client of hers. She was pretty, wore a real nice dress. Shoot, I was impressed. She asked for money and I gladly said I'd pay. But when she said $1 million, I swear, I was enraged. So I bit that gypsy. And now, well, we're engaged. She's a were-cow like me. Moo, moo, moo. She's a were-cow. And a right pretty little heifer she is, too. These days the sheriff lets me spend my nights in jail. So I won't hurt nobody when the moon turns pale, or end up some entree at the local steak and ale. I'm a were-cow. Moo, moo, moo. I'm a were-cow. Somebody call a vet. Yeah, I think I'm getting a touch of milk fever. I'm a were-cow. Moo.
Oh my.
Frickin' moo.
Oh. Nancy's here. Nancy Beatty.
Hey, Nan. Welcome.
She says, hi, good to see you. And,
Great to have you with us.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I love that song.
Everybody likes were-cow.
Luana Holly is here. Luana Holly Beard.
Beard.
Howdy, neighbor.
Hello, Luana from Huntsville,
Luana.
Alabama. It's
Hello.
great to meet you at MLAG. I heard you play. You were sitting outside, and Ivan and I were going from here to there or somewhere, and it was wonderful to hear you play. And hope to jam with you one day soon.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes in the championship, coincidentally, several people will play the same song. In 2016, I think it was, like 3 or 4 people played Vincent. Oh. And in 2019, 3 people, I think, played this song. And here's my version of it for you. Somewhere overweight people just like me must have some place where folks don't count every calorie. Somewhere overweight people have a ball in a land where they never heard of cholesterol, where folks can eat just what they want and still be slim and trim and gaunt. You'll find me where every little thing I taste won't wind up showing on my waist, or worse, behind me somewhere. spine's not bulging, why? Then oh why is mine? If bluebirds weighed as much as I, you'd see some big fat bluebirds in the sky.
Luana said, planning to see you in the near future.
Good, good. You're welcome pretty much any time, as long as Indy and I aren't out doing something somewhere. We get around. And fortunately, he hasn't had any more stomach trouble. So we're reducing his medication levels because $81 a month is a little bit hard on the old fixed income here.
Yeah.
And since humans only take one dose of this medication and he was taking 2 a day, I think maybe I can get away with it. I'll have to talk to Doc Andy and see.
Yeah.
Well, now, we've seen some strange things down home. We saw some fool jump out of a perfectly good airplane, and we got a werecow running around, and just all kind of strange stuff goes on. But here's one of the strangest things I ever saw down home. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He only had 3 legs. He was a wonky donkey, wonky donkey, wonky donkey, yeah. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He only had 3 legs and 1 eye. He was a winky wonky donkey, winky wonky donkey, winky wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He only had 3 legs, 1 eye, and he liked to listen to country music. Yee-haw! He was a honky-tonky, winky, wonky donkey. Honky-tonky, winky, wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He only had 3 legs, 1 eye. He liked to listen to country music, and he was quite tall and slim. He was a lanky honky-tonky, winky wonky donkey. Lanky honky-tonky, winky wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He only had 3 legs and 1 eye. He liked to listen to country music. He was quite tall and slim, and he smelled really, really bad. He was a stinky, dinky, lanky, honky-tonky, winky, wonky donkey. Stinky, dinky, lanky, honky-tonky, winky, wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He only had 3 legs and 1 eye. He liked to listen to country music. He was quite tall and slim. He smelled really bad. And that morning he got up late and hadn't had any coffee. He was a cranky, stinky, dinky, lanky, honky-tonky, winky, wonky donkey. Cranky, stinky, dinky, lanky, honky-tonky, winky, wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He only had 3 legs, 1 eye. He liked to listen to country music. He was quite tall and slim. He smelled really, really bad. That morning he got up late and hadn't had any coffee. And he was always getting up to mischief. He was a hanky-panky, cranky, stinky, dinky, lanky, honky-tonky, winky, wonky donkey. Hanky-panky, cranky, stinky, dinky, lanky, honky-tonky, winky, wonky donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. He only had 3 legs and 1 eye. He liked to listen to country music, and he was quite tall and slim, and he smelled really bad. And that morning he got up early and hadn't had any coffee. He was always getting up to mischief, but he was quite good looking. He was a spunky, hanky, panky, cranky, stinky, dinky, lanky, honky, tonky, winky, wonky, donkey. Spunky, hanky, panky, cranky, stinky, dinky, lanky, honky, tonky, winky, wonky, donkey. I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey. Hee-haw.
Yeah. I got a couple here. Hang on a minute. Oh, goodness. I still have to go up one more. Hang on. There's planning to see you. Well, I'm having a little trouble. Hang on. Lois Conklin is here.
Hello, Lois.
That's what I was trying to get to. What fun song lyrics. Tried to find you this morning, but now scrolling, and there you are. This is also fun.
Yeah, we come on at about 2 o'clock Eastern time,
Right.
or maybe a little after, depending upon the mood of the Facebook gods. So we're on every second and fourth Saturday afternoon at 2 Eastern.
Yes. And she said, love to you too. And,
Thank you, Lois.
Debbie Lane is here and says,
hello,
good
Debbie.
afternoon. And Ivan said hi to Lois. Come
Yeah.
down a little bit here. And Mike Mueller said, hi, Lois, we miss you. And Lois said, hi, Ivan. And hi, Mike, yes, miss you too. And then Bob Hale said, Bob and I recalled today the songs of Norfolk farmer. This was Brenda, I'm sorry. Bob and I recalled today the songs of Norfolk farmer Harry Cox.
Norfolk,
I'm sorry. 1885 to 1971, one of the most important singers of traditional English music. Look him up. Bob is learning there's bound to be a row, or a row.
a row.
Row. And,
Write it down,
okay.
if you can.
And then Nan said, LOL, love it, wonky donkey.
Yeah, the MLAG people, the MLAG audience loved that one too.
And Ivan had to leave now.
Okay, Ivan, and enjoy the graduation ceremony. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, that's Harry Cox.
Yeah, Norfolk farmer. Okay.
And it's called Row. There's bound to be a row.
I will look for it.
Thank
Sounds
you.
like a good one. Well, now we got, like I said, all kind of people and all kind of strange sights down home. Here's a song about a hard luck gambler. Well, late last night in the kettle of fish, I was having a glass of beer, when up comes a rounder by the name of Sam, who lately been seen around here. He gives me a howdy and he buys me a drink and he calls me by my name. Said some of the boys are just waiting upstairs, would you like to have a poker game? There were 4 or 5 fellas round the table upstairs. The smoke was thick as sin. They took my coat and they pulled up a chair and they proceeded to deal me in. I started in winning with the very first hand, and I kept on winning for a while. Had money in my pockets and money in my shoes, money in a great big pile. But it's, oh Lordy, don't you see this old stud poker be the ruin of me? You gotta get ready to shed some blood when the name of the game is stud. You know, I kept on winning for an hour or more, and the boys were feeling low. I was looking like a winner and feeling like a sinner, and I just about had their dough. I caught a pair of aces on the very last hand, and I bet my whole bankroll. But Sammy had a pair of deuces on the deck and another deuce in the hole. And it's, oh Lordy, don't you see this old stud poker be the ruin of me? You gotta get ready to shed some blood when the name of the game is stud. You know, I lost every penny that I had in the world. I lost my last red cent. Now my old woman ain't talking to me, and the landlord wants his rent. I know I had it coming, and it sure enough did, and I've only got myself to blame. But my fingers keep itching, and I keep on twitching just to find another poker game. And it's, oh Lordy, don't you see this old stud poker be the ruin of me? You gotta get ready to shed some blood when the name of the game is stud.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Gotta watch that gambling now. That's all there is to it. It's like my dear departed father used to say, son, if you don't have the money to lose, you don't have the money to win.
Yes. Good advice. Very good advice.
Okay, those were the songs played on at my Thursday night concert at MLAG. No telling what we'll get up to next year at CAG, at the California Autoharp Gathering. And we'll have more information about that gathering as time gets closer. But believe me, if you haven't been there and you're going to go to a gathering next year, you might really consider it. It's a beautiful place, idyllic setting, great people, lots of fun, good food, just everything you could possibly want in an Autoharp gathering. Let's see where we are. Oh, yes. All right, so in the second concert, I played the Tahoma, but I'm not going to switch today because I don't have an easy way to do that. So we're just going to continue with this setup. Dueling Autoharp.
Yes.
I mean, after all, I got twice as many strings in one instrument as those two boys had in both of theirs.
In both.
So I ought to be able to do something.
Well, yeah. The math works that way.
Yes, indeed. All right. Sunday morning, when I played this concert, I said that most of the folks down home would be just getting out of church. And here's a story about a Sunday service that the folks down home ain't never gonna forget.
LaVonda said, "It brings tears to my eyes when I see you play this. It is just amazing."
Thank you, LaVonda. Well, when I was a kid, I'd take a trip every summer down to Mississippi to visit my granny in her antebellum world. I'd climb barefooted all day long, climbing trees as free as a song. One day, I happened to catch myself a squirrel. I stuffed him down in an old shoebox and punched a couple holes in the top, and when Sunday came, I snuck him into church. I was sitting way back in the very last pew, showing him off to my good buddy you, when that squirrel got loose and went totally berserk. Well, what happened next was hard to tell. Some thought it was heaven, others thought it was hell, but the fact that something was among us was plain to see. As the choir sang "I Surrender All," the squirrel ran up Harv Newland's coveralls. Harv leaped to his feet and said, "Something's got a hold on me." Yow! The day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. It was a fight for survival that broke out in revival. They were jumping pews and shouting hallelujah. Well, Harv hit the aisles dancing and screaming. Some thought he had religion, others thought he had a demon, and Harv thought he had a weed eater loose in his Fruit of the Looms. Well, he fell to his knees to plead and beg, and the squirrel ran out of his britches leg, unobserved, to the other side of the room. All the way down to the Amen pew where sat Sister Bertha Better Than You, who'd been watching all the commotion with sadistic glee. But you should have seen the look in her eyes when that squirrel jumped her garters and crossed her thighs. She jumped to her feet and said, "Lord, have mercy on me." As the squirrel made laps inside her dress, she began to cry and then to confess to sins that would make a sailor blush with shame. She told of gossip and church dissension, but the thing that got the most attention was when she talked about her love life, and she started naming names. The day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. It was a fight for survival that broke out in revival. They were jumping pews and shouting hallelujah. Well, 7 deacons and the pastor got saved, and $25,000 got raised, and 50 volunteered for missions in the Congo on the spot. And even without an invitation, there's at least 500 rededications, and we all got rebaptized whether we needed it or not. Now, you've heard the Bible stories, I guess, of how he parted the waters for Moses to pass, all the miracles God has brought to this old world. But the one I'll remember to my dying day is how he put that church back on the narrow way with a half-crazed Mississippi squirrel. The day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. It was a fight for survival that broke out in revival. They were jumping pews and shouting hallelujah. Praise God.
Yeah. Lois on Dueling Autoharp said amazing, like 5 exclamation points. And
Thank you, Lois.
Wow, with applauding hands, clapping
Thank
hands.
you. Yeah, people like some good old picking and grinning.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't played that for a while.
Another one is Rabbit in the Log. Is that?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good song.
That's a good song.
I'm going to write that one down. That's a request from me.
Well, see how much time we got. We might work it in. Where are we time-wise?
I have 146.
Well, we can probably get that together. I will, remind me. Yeah, I want to do this concert just like I did it before, but then right after that I'll do it.
Okay. It was just a thought.
No, it's a good
another
idea.
Fast-moving one.
Yeah, it is. Here's a song about an old boy down home who thought there for a while he was going to have to strap on his guns and fight to keep someone he loved.
Happens.
Yeah. He'll be coming down the road at the break of day with his hat thrown back and his guns tied low. He's coming after Jenny, wants to take her away, but I ain't gonna let her go. Oh, he boasted in town that she loved him. He said she'd be his with the sun. He said anyone trying to stop him would be just one more notch on his gun. They say that he's headstrong and handsome. His hair's blowing wild and free, and they got a whole lot in common, 'cause he's a lot younger than me. And he'll be coming down the road at the break of day with his hat thrown back, his guns tied low. He's coming after Jenny, wants to take her away, but I ain't gonna let her go. He hasn't had much education. He ain't worked a day in his life, and he's living with some older woman, and they say she's another man's wife. But she wants him, needs him, and loves him. She buys him his clothes and his meals. When she finds he's gone, she'll be praying. Lord, I know just how she feels, because he's coming down the road. It's the break of day. His hat's thrown back, his guns are tied low. He's coming after Jenny, wants to take her away, but I ain't gonna let her go. The sun's at his back as he's coming. A smile is curling his lip. His right hand is slowly descending to the 6-gun that rests on his hip. Then his lower lip started trembling, and he started crying as he looked up at me. And I picked him up and I said, "Son, you're only 4 years old. And you know, Jenny's only 3. So come on in the house and have some cookies and milk." And we did, and the tears turned to smiles. And I called up his mama, and I drove him home. And Jenny's safe, at least for a little while. You know, you're ready to stand there and side the boy. You're ready to strap on your shooting irons and go out there and make it right. You know?
That's right.
Well, now, folks down home, they're they like to see new things and do new things. And one time years ago when shopping malls were big, remember them? Great big old places with 1 million stores and 1 million things to do and all. One of our neighbors down home decided that their family was going to go up to the big city and see one of these here shopping malls and then come back and tell us what it was all about, you know. So they all get in a pickup truck and they drive up to that mall, and why, there's enough parking lot. If it was a field, you could have grown a bumper crop. And they walked in the door, and Mama and their daughter went to the left, and Pa and Sonny, they went to the right, and they decided they'd meet back here in a couple hours. So they're walking around, and Pa and Sonny come across these 2 big metal doors. Well, they're standing there puzzling, and on the wall beside them 2 metal doors was these 2 great big round buttons. Well, they just could not figure out what that was all about, you know, when they're standing there cogitating about it. And here comes an old lady limping up to them big doors. She's leaning on a cane. She's all bent over with the rheumatiz, you know. Her hair's white. The wrinkles of time are etched on her face. She reaches up and mashes that great big old button, and them doors slide open. There's a little room in there. Well, she goes in that little room, and them doors shut, and they hear this, Pa and Sonny hear this funny kind of whining, humming noise, you know. By and by, them doors open back up, and the most beautiful young blonde gal walked out of there you'd ever want to see. And Pa turned to Sonny and said, "Boy, go get your mama."
Oh, no. Well,
yeah.
You can sure see how they might have made a mistake like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it looked like, wasn't it?
That's right. Benji's here. Charlie.
Hey,
Benji.
Ben.
Hi,
Welcome.
Hi, Ben.
Glad you could make it. How you doing? Y'all back in your house? They did a big remodeling project on their house. I think they moved back into it a week or 2 ago.
And doing well. Near as I've heard, anyway. But
Now,
it's good to have you, Ben.
It is. It really is. Now, this is true. You can't make this up.
Okay.
Ben's pa has got a YouTube channel. His name's Paul Harris. He's got him a YouTube channel where he goes around to these people's places that are infested with rats, and he kills rats.
Well, people like that.
And he's got all kind of followers. So if you want to see a good old down home rat killing, look for Paul Harris's YouTube channel. Benji, is that what he's calling it, or does he have another name for his channel? Let us know.
He said on here, "Yay, we are in doing good."
Good.
He's talking about the house.
Yeah, that's good to know. So, that's good to know. Here's a song about a huge misunderstanding and how sometimes trying to do a good deed can go terribly wrong. We were born and raised way back in the sticks. Everybody used to call us Hicks. We had a 20-acre holler that was nestled between 2 hills. We raised hogs and chickens, cows and a mule. We might have been hillbillies, but we weren't no fools. We had plenty to eat. Raised it all ourselves. Now the biggest problem that we ever had was a mule named Rodney. Kept everybody mad. No matter how hard we tried, we couldn't keep him fenced in. He'd get in the garden and maw his flower bed, and Pa'd cuss and scratch his old gray head, settle his nerves with a drink, and patch the fence again. Me and brother bought an electric fence, battery and all, put it up one night, gonna surprise her Pa. Had to keep that mule in so Pa didn't get so tense. Pa got up that night, he was moving kinda quick. He headed for the outhouse. The fog was thick. He must have lost his way 'cause he got hung in that electric fence. Yeah, he must have went through a spiritual change. He don't look the same anymore. He works hard every day, goes to church every Sunday. No more loafing at the country store. Treats us all different, even quit chewing tobacco. Ain't cussed or drank ever since the night that Paul got hung in that electric fence. We heard Pa scream. He said, "Come quick, sons. The Martians have got me. They zapped me with their guns." He wasn't hard to find. There's sparks flying everywhere. He said, "Stand back, boys. I ain't joking." His body was jerking. His long johns were smoking. His hair was standing straight up. He must have been really scared. We was trying to tell Paul what we'd done when we saw 'em all coming with her old shotgun. She said, "Step aside, boys. Ain't no Martian gonna get my man." When the mule ran out of the barn with a bucket on his head, Ma let go both barrels and filled him with lead. She thought he was a Martian. We couldn't make her understand. Yeah, he must have went through a spiritual change. He don't look the same anymore. He works hard every day, goes to church every Sunday. No more loafing at the country store. Treats us all different, even quit chewing tobacco. Ain't cussed or drank ever since the night that Paul got hung in that electric fence. We got Pa out when the battery went dead. He was stiff as a board when we got him in bed. Me and my brother got scared and sneaked that fence back to the store. They still swear up and down that the Martians were there, and they ain't been able to do nothing with Pa's hair. And they can't figure out why the mule won't eat out of a bucket anymore.
Ben said the mouse trap, I believe.
Ah, okay. So, you wanna watch a professional rat killer? He's got all the equipment. He's got pellet guns and BB guns and big tanks of CO2. He never runs out of ammo. And
it's a good service.
If you want to watch a rat killing or two, go to Mousetrap on YouTube. Now, every once in a while, one of the old boys down home will brew up a batch, or they'll cook off a batch. And this is a song we've played a lot on here. It's about my Uncle Hiram and what happened to him when he tried to brew up a batch. Well, I was just a boy at the time when this drinking Uncle Hiram of mine decided he'd make up a batch of homemade beer. "Don't tell a soul," he said to me, "but I've come across this recipe that says for pennies a day I can drink all year." So I searched the alleys behind the bars for empty jugs and mason jars, and he sneaked them down to his basement brewery. He measured out yeast and sugar and hops, and he said to me as we sealed the tops, "For goodness sake, don't tell your Aunt Marie." She'd say, "Hey there, Hiram, what's going on down there? There's some peculiar odor coming up the basement stairs. Go on back to your sewing, hon, I'm varnishing a chair. The time my Uncle Hiram made his famous homemade beer." Well, we let her sit for a month or so, and me and Uncle sneaked down below, figuring it was about time to give it a try. I was standing there at the foot of the stairs, and Uncle Hiram was checking the wares, and all of a sudden 2 bottles just blew sky high. Well, the jars went crash, and the lids went plunk, and Hiram dived behind the trunk as the beer began to spew out on the floor. Uncle yelled, "Don't mind me, save yourself." As fast as I could, I ran up the steps, and out of breath, I quickly closed the door. Aunt Marie said, "What is it, dear?" And I said, "It's Uncle's homemade beer. It's blowing up and got Uncle trapped down there." She said, "Beer, beer, I declare. Hiram, you come up out of there." But the sound of exploding beer was all we could hear. "Hey there, Hiram, what's going on down there? There's some peculiar odor coming up the basement stairs. Go on back to your sewing, hon, I'm varnish in a chair. The time my Uncle Hiram made his famous homemade beer." It sounded like a war for a day and a night. Them bottles just blew up left and right till finally we just heard one here and there. Aunt Marie took a comforter and holding it up in the front of her with me behind, we went on down the stairs. Well, the place was a mess, to say the least. The walls were sticky and it smelled like yeast, and the glass and the lids and the beer were all around. It had been quite a battle, there weren't no doubt, but when we commenced to looking about, Uncle Hiram was nowhere to be found. Auntie cried out, "Hiram, oh poor dear, he's been killed by a jar of beer." I warned him a drink, but he never listens to me. Then up popped the lid on the antique trunk, and there, soaked in beer, blind, running drunk, was the late lamented love of Aunt Marie. And he said, "Rather than see it all go to waste, I figured I might as well give it a little taste. I reckon I tasted about 43 jars of beer. Y'all just go on, 'cause I'm staying right down here." Hey there, Hiram, what's going on down there? There's some peculiar odor coming up the basement stairs. Go on back to your sewing, hon, I'm varnish in a chair. The time my Uncle Hiram made his famous homemade beer.
Philippa said, as ever, one of my favorites, with a big smile.
Yeah, mine too.
Nan said, "Heart, one of my favorites." I have a question for you. Is your microphone supposed to be over the harp, or is it the pickup is getting it? Because your dog moved and he put the microphone...
Oh, you certainly did.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was ever over there.
It may not have been. It's
So
supposed to be
hopefully-
right there. Now it'll sound a lot better now that we're over halfway through the show.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't notice that. Kathy Chrysler is here.
Hello, Kathy
Love
and Larry.
that song.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's one of our most favorites. My mic needs there.
I always forget something.
Well, I know, and I didn't either, but if he hadn't rocked that stand...
My
You
faithful
moved it-
canine companion, Indy, who is laying under the table by my side, all curled up in a little ball.
Yes.
He is starting to really bond to me. He wants to be where I am. He's getting to be more like Lulu was.
Yes. Well, things are... acclimating be the proper word.
Yeah. That's culture shock.
Yeah.
You go from an urbane situation like Palmetto, Florida, to down home here.
Well, they got sidewalks and curbs and...
Well, all kind of fancy stuff.
I'll bet they've even got crosswalks.
I worked so hard on the levels.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm glad you noticed it.
Be good for the second hour.
Yeah.
We're at 4 minutes past 2, or 3 in their case.
Okay.
So at least half of the concert will be right.
Well,
Oh, what can you say?
what are you going to do? And so, anyway,
Oh, goodness.
now, not everybody's gambling and drinking and
Getting hung in the fence.
getting hung in fences and
Different ways.
and counterfeiting money and mistaking elevators for transformation chambers and stuff. I mean, some of the folks down home are real hard working. And here's a song by Ray Stevens about one of them. Now, some folks say grown-up men are still just little boys, and really the only difference is the price of our toys. We go for macho symbols like guns and running shoes, pickup trucks and hunting ducks and hunting power tools, power tools, power tools. You just plug them in the wall and think of all you can do. You can plant a garden, fix your car, build a house if you want to, if you got the proper power tool. Hello? 911? Yeah, I was out in the front yard testing out my brand new gas-powered weed whacker there, and somehow or another she got caught on the hammer loop of my Big Smith overalls. Yeah, before I could get her shut down, she screwed me 3 foot down the middle of the front yard there. My wife looked out the door and hollered, "Hey, Shorty, long as you down there, why don't you check the fescue for aphids?" That woman's a real comedian. Hardy har har. Now some folks say macho men use tools to compensate for a lack of virility. Well, I thought about that, but wait. There may be some validity in what those people say. But in my case, it's the only way I can get outside and play. Boy, I love this stuff. Power tools. Power tools. You just plug them in the wall and think of all you can do. You can plant a garden, fix your car, build a house if you want to, if you got the proper power tool. Hello? Emergency? Yeah, I was out in the garden testing out my brand new direct drive rototiller there, and somehow or other the rawhide lace on my red goose work boots got tangled up in that outboard tiller tine. Yeah, before I could get her shut down, she drug me plumb clear across the front yard up underneath my neighbor's Toyota 4x4. My wife looked out the door and hollered, "Hey, Shorty!" Funny how a name will stick with you like that. "Hey, Shorty, as long as you're going to be playing Mr. Goodwrench, it seems to me like you'd work on our old jalopy first." That woman's a regular Roseanne Barr. Now 911 rescued me and carried me away to the local hospital for at least a 2-week stay. The doctor said, "I hope you learned your lesson. Thanks to power tools, you're nearly dead." I didn't hear a word he was saying, 'cause I was playing with my power bed. Power tools. Power tools. Hello? Nurse's station? Yeah, send somebody up to room 304 quick. Yeah, my power bed's stuck in the upright position. I'm folded up in here like a great big taco. Whoa, if you got the proper power tools.
Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Philippa said, this was before that song, said sound didn't seem to change. Are you sure it's on? We hadn't played music at that point.
Right, yeah.
So that's
right.
Yeah. So I don't know.
All right. A lot of the boys down home, and some of the gals too, they like to go fishing. Catch a nice mess of fresh fish, fillet them suckers, and fry them up with some taters and onions, and you got some of the best chow you'd ever want to eat. Here's a song about that. About a fishing trip that didn't go quite the way the boys planned. Now me and Harold, this buddy of mine, decided we'd go fishing one time, so we drove to the lake with my brand new bass boat. I brought the fishing poles, pork and beans, saltine crackers, and the canned sardines, and Harold brought all the booze one man could tow. While I loaded the boat and filled the tank and tried to get that motor to crank, Harold just sat there sipping on a long-neck beer. While I was steering the boat and tying the plugs, he was drinking moonshine straight from the jug, and he was singing Melancholy Baby before we left the pier. Oh, never go fishing with a man who has been drinking, 'cause things just might not work out like you wish. Leave that fool at home to drink, he'll be just as happy fishing in the kitchen sink. Don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish. I was concentrating, perfecting my cast, hoping to land a trophy bass. Harold was having trouble trying to find the lake. Laying there, right beside his feet, was an anchor line coiled up real neat. Harold saw it, went white as a ghost, and hollered, "Snake!" Well, he jumped straight up and started to yell, and I said, "Sit down, Harold, and behave yourself. Can't you see that ain't nothing but a piece of rope?" Well, he was scared to death, plumb out of his mind, trying not to get bit by that anchor line, and he grabbed my shotgun and blew a hole in the bottom of the boat. Harold, never go fishing with a man who has been drinking, 'cause things just might not work out like you wish. Leave that fool at home to drink, he'll be just as happy fishing in the kitchen sink. Don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish. Now, too drunk to fish is too drunk to swim. I was dog paddling and dragging him, and finally made it to a little sandbar just big enough for two. And it was way after dark when that helicopter came with that big searchlight and calling our names, and Harold looked up to the sky and said, "Lord, is that you?" And then he knelt there in that heavenly glow and said, "Lord, you know, I ain't ready to go, so if you pass me by tonight, oh, I will reform." Then they threw down the raft and I paddled us home, and he never touched a drop from that moment on. You know, the Lord works in mysterious ways, his miracles to perform. Never go fishing with a man who has been drinking, 'cause things just might not work out like you wish. Just leave that fool at home to drink, he'll be just as happy fishing in the kitchen sink. Don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish. Oh, don't go near the water with a man too drunk to fish.
Very good advice. Rita Persing is here.
Hello, Rita.
Hi, George. I'm late, but I made it. Sounding good.
Well, thank you for coming.
Welcome.
You know, we really appreciate it, and it was nice to meet you at MLAG here a couple of weeks ago, too. We were talking about that song.
Yes, Rabbit in a
Rabbit
Log.
in a Log.
Didn't know if you wanted to do that or catch it at the end, or...
No. I want to end with...
Oh, you already have that.
I have the end
Yes.
plotted out. So we did a couple of fast-picking songs, and everybody liked them so much. This is an extra.
Okay.
And
This is one I like.
Don't let me forget to write this down that we played it. Okay. Don't know anything about it. I think it's a traditional song. I don't know who wrote it. Lots of people sing it. It's called Rabbit in a Log. Rabbit in a log and I ain't got no dog. How will I get him? I know. Get me a briar and I'll twist it in his hair. That's how I'll get him, I know. I know, I know, really I know. That's how I'll get him, I know. Get me a briar and I'll twist it in his hair. That's how I'll get him, I know. Build me a fire and I'll roast that old hare. Roll him in the flames nice and brown. Feasting tonight while the moon shines so bright. I got no place to lie down. To lie down, to lie down, place to lie down. I got no place to lie down. Feasting tonight while the moon shines so bright. I got no place to lie down. That's a good idea. Walking down the track with a chicken on my back, soles on my shoes nearly gone. A little ways ahead there's an old farmer's shed. That's where I'll rest my weary bones. Weary bones, weary bones. That's where I'll rest my weary bones. A little ways ahead there's an old farmer's shed. That's where I'll rest my weary bones. Rabbit in a log and I ain't got no dog. How will I get him? I know. Get me a briar and I'll twist it in his hair. That's how I'll get him, I know. Ready? I know, I know, I know. That's how I'll get him, I know. Get me a briar and I'll twist it in his hair. That's how I'll get him, I know. Nice, thank you for joining in.
Well, I didn't know all the words. I thought I did.
No, you done good. Don't worry
But
about it.
hey, I knew the tune.
That's right. I'll hum a few bars and we'll fake it.
There you go.
Especially after we've been to a few bars. Then it won't matter. Now, we talked about...
Something happened. I didn't touch anything, and it went off into the desktop.
I
says
did that.
live down there.
I did that.
You did?
Yep.
Well, I hope we're still live. It says live down there. Hang in there, folks.
I set my glass down, and it touched
one of the buttons.
One of the buttons.
Oh, well.
On the keyboard. So I think we're still here. But let me get your comments back for you.
Yes.
First, I have to take off all these pics.
Oh, shoot.
What?
I said, oh, shoot.
Oh, no, it's all right. It's not a problem.
No, nothing else happened. I'm just saying you got to take the pics off. Oh, shoot, that takes time.
All right.
Okay.
Where are we?
Now we're over on OBS. Back to desktop. I don't see us. OBS. Hang in there, guys.
Shit. Oh,
I don't see us in the choices. Let me, can I try something?
Yeah, but you're not going to get anywhere.
No, that doesn't move.
No.
Did we?
We closed it.
We did close it, so we may be off the air.
We are off the air.
Whoops, catastrophic failure.
Yeah.
OBS 2.0.3, 64 bit, Windows, new tab radio 1 column 1. New tab document. Old time radio research library circle to pick up the drag delay. Press the spacebar. While ready, use the arrow keys to move the item. Press space to drop the item. Account circle to pick up the drag delay. Press the spacebar. While ready, use the arrow keys to move the item. OBS 2.0.3, 64 bit, Windows. OBS 2.0.3, 64 bit. OBS 2.0.3, 64 bit, Windows. Profile. Desktop list.
We have to go back to start streaming. It says stop streaming. I can click on that.
Don't worry about it.
You do it.
Program manager.
Just don't talk to me right now.
Got it.
PC health check 12 of 12. Programs 8 of 12. Programs window. Tree view. Items view list. 14 not selected 145. Rate 945. New tab rate.
Come on.
Facebook.com selected.
There we go.
7. Clickable banner landmark account controls and settings navigation landmark your profile graphic button. Busy indicate your profile dialog. Autoharp down home switch profiles link. Link button switch profiles. Separate. Button see all profiles. See all profiles button. Select profile. List with 2 items radio button. Check Autoharp down home. Check MC radio button not checked 2 of 2. Programs 1 column 2. Programs window. Items view list. 7. Facebook rate. 7. Facebook documents. Find an page. 7. Facebook dialog. Find edit F. 7. Facebook documents. Banner landmark. Your profile dialog. Lit. Find a page. 7. Facebook dialog. Find edit F.
Which are you trying to find? Because Autoharp Down Home is highlighted on select profile.
Just don't worry about it.
Facebook documents. Button graphic your profile. Link notifications. 7 on red. Link messenger. 3 on red. Find dialog. Type the text you wish to find edit selected below. Selection. Main landmark create a post region button live video. Navigation landmark loading. Busy indicator. Navigation landmark create live video heading level 1. Choose where to post. Combo box collapse button. Dialog. Post on timeline button. Button post on timeline. Button unavailable posting group. Button post on timeline. Button choose where to post. Combo box live producer combination of creation options. Go live. Go live by yourself or with others. Choose where to publish your live video. Explore additional tools to engage your viewers. Separate. Create a test broadcast before going live. Checkbox not checked to save. Button go live. Create live video event. Create an event ahead of time to share with your audience. Create live. Button go live. 7. The producer Facebook document. Main landmark loading. Busy indicator. Blank. Clickable. Loading. Busy indicator. Unknown. Dialog. Don't continue button. Button don't continue. Button continue. Button don't continue. Do you want to continue?
Oh,
Live
it
video
will still be going
Do you want
on.
to continue? Button don't continue. Button continue. Dashboard content. Main landmark. Connect streaming software to go live. Blank. Clickable. Blank. 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 Clickable banner landmark. Visit link Facebook. Account controls and settings. Navigation landmark. Your menu button. Navigation landmark. Help center button. Collapse sidebar button. Connect video source button. Button complete post details. Button go live. Separate. Link Autoharp down home timeline. Separate. Button go live. Go live button. Dashboard button select video source. Radio button not check webcam. Webcam. Radio button check streaming software. Streaming software. Preview streams via streaming software are subject to link community standards and basic enforcement. Heading level 2 streaming software setup. Copy and paste the stream key into your streaming software. Stream key. Stream key edit FB60419656169239110 F7 using MPX7G. Copy stream key button. Alert stream key copy. Programs are 1 column 2. OBS 2.0.3. OBS 2.0.3. 64 bit Windows. Profile. Untitled scenes. Untitled window. Controls window. Stop recording checkbox checked. Stop streaming checkbox checked. 7. Facebook breaker 1 column 2. 7. Facebook document. Stream key copy. Once you start to preview the broadcast, you have up to 4 hours to go live. Button reset. Button advanced settings. Button graphic show details. Heading level 2 video. Connect streaming software to go live. Expand video. Button minimize video. Button event logs. Heading level 2 add post details. Checkbox not checked. Share the story. Your live video will also be added to your story. Visit link Autoharp down home timeline. Button what's your live video about. Button check in. Button what's your live video about. Blank. Button dialog. Close button. Button close. Link Autoharp down home timeline. Autoharp down home button edit privacy. Sharing with public. Click button edit privacy. Clickable title. Required. Edit. Title. Required. Edit invalid entry blank. Edit privacy. Sharing with public. Button. Title. Required. Edit down home continue. Description. Required. Edit multi-line link. Motion button. Button save. Unavailable. Unavailable. Stream key copy. Clickable navigation landmark button collapse sidebar. Graphic progress. Step 1/3. Button connected. Button complete post details. Button go live. Separate. Link Autoharp down home timeline. Autoharp down home post your profile. Button choose where to post. Combo box. When are you going live? Button edit privacy. Sharing with. Visit link current page stream setup. Link dashboard. Button collapse settings. Button collapse interactivity. Button collapse distribution. Button collapse monetization. Clickable. Button previous. Button next. 7. Facebook document. Button next. Button close. Button next. Button previous. Clickable. Button collapse monetization. Button collapse distribution. Button collapse link dash. Visit. Button edit privacy. When are you going live? Button choose where to post. Combo box collapse. Autoharp down home post your profile. Link Autoharp down home timeline. Separate. Button go live. Button complete post details. Button go live. Separate. Link Autoharp down home timeline. Separate. Button go live. Go live button. Dashboard content. Main landmark. Main landmark. Select video source heading level 2. Button select video. Radio button not check webcam. Radio button streaming software. Preview streams via link community enforcement. Heading level 2 stream. Copy and paste the stream key. Stream key edit FB. Button copy stream key. Stream key copy. Once you start to preview the broadcast. Button reset. Button advanced settings. Button graphic show details. Heading level 2 video. Connect streaming software to go live. Expand video. Button minimize video. Button event logs. Heading level 2 add post key. Checkbox not checked. Share the story. Your live video will also be added to your story. Link Autoharp down home timeline. Autoharp down home. Button edit privacy. Down home continue. Continue to mirror your performance. Separate. Button check in. Button viewing slash activity. Separate. Button edit post details. Button cross post to more pages. Button unavailable to share to pages groups. Button audience settings. Button tickets and events. Heading level 2 preset pin comment. This comment will be automatically pinned in the chat box. Checkbox not checked. Checkbox not checked. Check. Preview. Pin comment. Autoharp Down Home. Button unavailable edit. Connect streaming software to the lab. Link. Clickable. Link. 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 Link.
I don't know, Lin. I'm so flustered.
OBS 2.0.3. 60. OBS 2.0.3. 64 bit.
Let me try to hit the streaming.
No.
Okay.
Don't try to do anything. You'll wreck.
Well, I'm not. I just wanted to help. I thought that would be the way to go.
What?
The way you start on OBS came up and it had the stop streaming and it had the streaming buttons where you can use them.
Stop streaming checkbox checked.